So the next, about 45 minutes, we're going to kind of discuss, we'll have a panel discussion around some of the hot topics that we've already seen this morning in payroll. So just by way of introduction, I'm going to introduce the pretty ones first. So Beatrie needs no introduction. Then Tarryn Atkinson, you may or may not know, she's the tax risk management at FirstRand. And right next to her is Marelize. She should be well known. Okay. Marelize and I go back many years now. She's the head of employers tax benefits also at FirstRand. And Johan van der Westhuizen is head of Payroll and other taxes at Vodacom. So it's quite nice at this moment. We've got one person in professional practice and three of them in commercial practice. So they're probably the ones that all got the issues. We've got the answers. Okay. No, okay. So when Keith asked me to try and chair this session, I love to be controversial, or let's say challenging around the payroll. And I'm going to leave this session is entirely dependent on the panel. Okay. But I've kind of looked at this as, look at payroll. I kind of look at it as two parts. There's the legislation part and there's the process part. Okay. But one thing that sits in the back of my mind is that we should be aiming for simplification, flexibility, and understanding. Because too long, payroll has been that complex area. Okay. So maybe what I'm going to start off with the panel, they're all prepared. They just may not be prepared for my questions. Okay. But I'm going to start off by saying, if I look, because I'm an extreme generalist, and I look at the studies that we've done, for example, to the Workplace 2022, I think it's fair to say that's changing now, and it will be very different between now and then. And the question I'm really looking for, has legislation kept pace with that change? Okay. And what are some of those issues that are coming as a result of this change in the workplace? Anybody want to have a go at anything? Let's start with the easy one, cell phones, because we've got Johan from Vodacom. Okay.
Yeah, I think cell phones is one of the most difficult areas. At the moment, there's three ways to compensate employees. Firstly, by reimbursements, which is, if it's only business related, it's not taxable. Then by allowances, which is fully taxable, so there's basically no benefit to the employee, even if he incurs business-related expenses. And then the last one, and the most difficult one to implement, is the so-called split billing, basically, where the employer pays a sponsored amount, and basically the employee, the excess is deducted from their bank accounts. There's two main exemptions, basically. The first one is if you mainly utilize your mobile phone or the telecommunication services for business purposes. At least in terms of the interpretation note, you can only look at the facts and circumstances, but there's still a burden of proof on the employer. So you don't have to do detailed calculations, but you need to look at the job description of the employee, and also the policies, how it's enforced, basically. But still, if SARS comes in, you need to prove to them that the equipment was mainly utilized for business purposes. And then there's also an exemption where there's no value if there was certain private use, and the private use was at the employer's place of work. But the most difficult